Hello and welcome back to SketchUp Assist. In this video, we're going to be using SketchUp to explore some kitchen layout concepts, so stick around. Now, there is a rule in kitchen design. It's an old rule, tracing its origins back to the 1920s, and it's known as the triangle rule. And the kitchen triangle rule is a classic design guideline that places the sink, the stove, or cooktop, and the refrigerator in a triangular layout to create an efficient workflow. The idea is to minimize the steps between these main work zones for easier cooking and cleaning. Now, each leg of the triangle should ideally be 4 to 9 feet. The total perimeter of the triangle should be 13 to 26 feet. It's key that no major traffic flow or obstructions like islands or other cabinets cut through the triangle to ensure not only seamless movement, but also safety. Now, for many kitchens, it's kind of difficult to not satisfy the triangle rule. And in those cases, it kind of becomes a yes, so what? I get it. Many might argue also that it's an outdated concept. But as modern kitchens get bigger and islands become a staple in kitchens across the country, I would argue that it takes on a little more relevance these days, actually. Also, most people will argue that with 3 points, you will get a triangle. First off, that isn't always true. And second, that really is not the point. Now, where do you not get a triangle? In kitchens where everything falls on a single wall. So very small kitchens, often the sink, the stove, the refrigerator will be on a single wall. You will not get a triangle. But again, that's not the point. The triangle rule is not about forming a triangle. In most cases, that's a given. It's more about the lengths of the legs of the triangle, and more importantly, whether those legs have disruptions. So let's have a look at a few kitchen layouts to better understand the triangle rule. And so here I have a few 10 by 10 kitchen layouts. I have a couple of L-shaped kitchen layouts, 1 and 2 here, and the third one is more of a U-style. And what we want to do is do the triangle layout here. And this doesn't have to be super precise, but what we want to do is sort of connect roughly the workstations here. And so in this case, we'd have kind of a straight line across here. I won't get it perfect. Again, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. This is not that precise. And we can connect these like this, and then we can come into the dimensions. And if you kind of click on this, you'll see when those lock in. And so you can see in this first kitchen, we have, actually, let's increase our fonts here just a little bit. So let's go into our dimension fonts. Let's make those 14s. Let's select all and update those, make them a little easier to see going forward. Okay, and so you can see in this first one, we have around 5.5 feet between the sink and the stove, around 4 feet between the stove and the refrigerator, and then around a little under 8 feet between the refrigerator and the sink. So all well within our range of 4 to 9 feet that the rule generally calls for. And again, these don't have to be exactly. If there's a little under or a little over, that's fine. The key here is that we don't see any obstructions. Let's go ahead and add some dimensions to the rest of these. And what you'll see is, in this case, once again, everything looks really good, no obstructions. And in our U-style format, okay, now this starting to get a little low, 3 feet 2 below the 4, but certainly well within a reasonable range. If we were concerned about it, we could easily position that stove a little further down this wall. So again, these are sort of random layouts. I didn't pick these for any particular reason other than to show that generally you will satisfy the kitchen triangle rule, which is why a lot of people sort of write it off. So now where might you see the rule become a little more important? Let's take a look at a different kitchen layout. Okay, here we have a kitchen. It's pretty similar layout to what we had before, but you can see it's much wider. So it's about 20 feet wide and about 10 feet deep. This isn't an unrealistic kitchen size for modern kitchens. There are many kitchens out there that are going to be this size or bigger. And what you'll start to see here is that those rules become a little more important. And I think adhering to those rules could create a little better flow. So I've kind of laid out some extreme positions here with the refrigerator, the sink, and the stove at opposite ends. I think clearly, the first thing we see is that we do have an island here, and this island is absolutely obstructing the flow of the triangle. On top of that, if we look at the dimensions, I think it won't be a shock to see that some of these are out of range. Now that one might be a little hard to see. I'll move it in just a second. Get this last one in here. Let me grab the move tool and kind of shift this over so you can see it. So we can see 9.5 feet. Again, that's not the end of the world. A little over our 9-foot guidance, but 9.5 would be acceptable. But what you see is we do have a little bit of obstruction here. I'd argue in this case, we would probably overlook this. It's not enough to cause a major obstruction. You could easily sort of skirt around that island. But I think where we have a big issue is this dimension, the dimension between the refrigerator and the stove. And we see we're about 15 feet, but more importantly, it runs right through the island. And so, you're kind of walking around this obstruction. Now, whether or not you would be able to live with this becomes subjective at some level, but I would probably lean towards a layout change in this case. So let's take a look at what some opportunities could be. So here's effectively the same layout. We've just relocated the refrigerator to the other side of the kitchen. And I went ahead and added the dimensions to the triangle. So you can see here, good positioning between the sink and the stove, good positioning between the sink and the refrigerator, about 7.5 feet, and good positioning between the refrigerator and the stove at 9.4. So a little over that mark, but again, these shouldn't be looked at as hard rules, just guidance. But the most important thing here is that we now no longer have the island obstructing that flow. Now, you might look at this and say, well, there's a lot of space over here that's not utilized. There are a couple of things that you could do. Showing one here doesn't really utilize the space over here, but what you can start to think about in larger kitchen layouts is creating multiple work zones. So here we have our sort of traditional work zone, I'll call it, right? Our stove, refrigerator, sink. And now I've added a sink here. It may be a little hard to tell, but this is a small, almost like a bar sink in the island. And this creates now a prep station. The nice thing with this prep station is that it does have close proximity to the refrigerator. We would assume it's just simply sink and refrigerator for a prep station that you need. You have space on both sides. And I didn't add it in here, but another concept that's starting to come up is, again, with a larger format and utilizing the space, is you can think about having a baking work zone on this side. And so I'm showing a cooked surface here. I'm not indicating whether there's an oven underneath this or not, but you could start to think about placing an oven over in this region and having, for example, dough prep space or baking prep space over here. So now you can have these multiple work zones in the kitchen. Even if it's one person, they can sort of break up their tasks and sort of have everything cleanly separated. If you do have multiple people and people aren't stepping on each other's toes. Now, beyond the triangle rule, there are some other things to think about when designing your kitchen. To start with, any work aisles you have should have at least 42 inches if you plan to have a single person working in the kitchen. If you're going to have multiple people, you need a little more. Guidance is about 48 inches. So if you have a galley kitchen, for example, or you're thinking about squeezing an island in to your kitchen, this is critical to consider. What I'm showing here are a couple of galley kitchens, and I have standard 2-foot base cabinet outlines in both of these. This is the work aisle in this galley kitchen. This is a 42-inch work aisle here. Again, if you're going to have one person in here, then this is sort of the minimal amount of space that you want. So when you're laying out these kitchens and deciding if you put cabinets down, both walls, for example, do you have cabinets on this wall and this wall? You'll want to look at this workspace. And so really it's about 7.5 feet width that you need to sort of satisfy that 42-inch workspace. I'm showing a just sort of randomly smaller kitchen here, and how, once you get below that 7.6, that space starts to get really tight. So now we're looking at just over 2.5 feet of workspace. Even for one person, this would be really tight. And in this case, you may want to consider eliminating the cabinets along this wall. And so perhaps ending the cabinets here, moving this stove over into this space here or some other layout, and eliminating this. Whether or not you decide to do that, again, this is all subjective, and none of these rules are hard rules to follow. They're just things to help you sort of ensure that you create a kitchen that actually works well for you. Sometimes more cabinets is not more space. In the case of those kitchens where you may have ample space, but you're trying to decide whether or not you can fit an island, again, you want to make sure that you have good clearance. I would very much recommend having at least 42 inches. We see these kitchens that have less than 42 inches between the island and either a wall or another wall of cabinets. That becomes really, really difficult if you have more people than one. Even one person can be difficult. If you have an oven here, for example, and that door is open, and you have a dishwasher over here and that door is open, this space gets really confined really quickly, and frankly, it can become a safety issue. So whenever you're trying to decide if you can make that island work, you really need to consider having about 42 inches of clearance between the island and the other cabinets. Now, I want to go back to our small U-shaped kitchen to talk about another thing to consider, and that is the workspace around a sink. Guidance is you have about 24 inches on one side of the sink and about 18 on the other. Now, again, in most modern kitchens, there's ample space to satisfy this. But if you're working on updating an older kitchen or you have a smaller kitchen space, this can become a little difficult. We now have this scenario where now this sink is only 8 inches off of the wall, off of the refrigerator. And, this really is pretty tight. Like that 8 inches of space becomes not super useful, and it almost becomes completely wasted. So a little bit better layout is, trying to, again, meet that requirement of having, at least about 18 inches if you can make it work. In this case, I think we have about 2 feet, 1'7", which isn't bad. Now, there's a fundamental issue with this kitchen layout that if you stick around, I'll tell you about, but there are much bigger issues. If you're used to doing kitchen layouts, you may already see it, but we'll save that for a few minutes from now. Now, looking at this layout, there is also guidance on the refrigerator. If you think about opening the refrigerator, sort of taking things out, setting them down, and then closing it, you can only carry so many things, obviously, out of the refrigerator at one time. You may want to take a number of items out, set them down, close the door, and then move them to where you're working. Ideally, you should have clear counter area of at least 15 inches on the handle side. Now, this is a single door, and you can see the handle is here on this refrigerator. I'd probably flip this handle if I was actually going to put this refrigerator in this particular kitchen. To have the handle on this side. And again, you'd want to have that space beside the refrigerator, or an alternative is to have space across the work aisle. But generally you want that work aisle to be within about 4 feet. So if you think about opening this door, getting things out, turning around, setting them down on this countertop, you don't want this to be 5-6 feet across the kitchen where you're walking back and forth to set those items down. If you have a double door, a side-by-side refrigerator, then you want to have that space on one side or the other, so that 15 inches or so on one side or the other of the refrigerator to set things down. Again, assuming this would be a double door, or we move the handle to the other side, flip the door opening, right? Then this would be ample space to satisfy that requirement. Now, you might not be surprised to expect that there are similar rules for the cooktop or the stove. And in this case, you want ideally clearance on both sides, so around 15 inches on one side, 12 inches on the other. Now, just to be clear, I'm not sure where these numbers come from, but I do happen to agree with them. You do want this sort of workspace on either side of each of these appliances, whether it's really 15 inches or 18 inches or 12 inches. I think that's not really the point to focus on here. The point to focus on is ensuring that you do have ample space. Now, just to reiterate, these are ideal recommendations. No doubt there are kitchens where satisfying these rules will be impossible, right? And I've lived in those places. You might have 4 feet of countertop total, and so there's no way that you can satisfy all of these things. But what this is really geared towards is that, if you do have a big kitchen or a big-ish kitchen, that you do think about these flows and how to properly lay them out. And if you have a smaller kitchen, that you don't try to squeeze too many things in to that space, or squeeze too many cabinets or an island or something like that. Now let's get back to what I was saying about the problem with this particular layout, and in particular the sink. So we've talked about the countertop, so above the counter, but we haven't talked about below the counter. In this case, we have a very small area. It's about 8 inches. Unless you're getting custom cabinets, it's probably going to be difficult to find a cabinet that's going to fit in that space. So some of them you may have them. I know in many lines you just won't see an 8-inch cabinet. It's usually a 9 or 12 is the minimum that you can find. And so that distance between the sink and, in this case, the refrigerator, or between the sink and a wall, oftentimes is going to be dictated by what's that smallest cabinet that you can get, the smallest base cabinet. Now, a bigger issue is on, in this case, would be the other side. It's very common nowadays to have a built-in dishwasher in a kitchen, and in a vast majority of the cases, that dishwasher is next to the sink. It can be on either side of the sink, but it's generally directly adjacent to the sink. And this is largely because the water supply and the drain that's available with the sink. So we tie in the water supply for the dishwasher, and we tie in the drain from the dishwasher into that kitchen sink. Now, the problem is that you typically are going to see 24 inches is the requirement for a dishwasher. You can get smaller ones, but you can see in this case already, we've got only 8 inches of space here. We actually don't have enough to get the dishwasher on this side. So in this case, this is a pretty major issue, unless you want to forego a built-in dishwasher, which more than likely you're not going to want to do. So in that case, what you may think about is swapping the location of, for example, the cooktop and the sink. Something like this. Obviously, we'd want to turn this around. And then we have some flexibility on where we would place this. And so, for example, if we were going to go with this, you don't want to put that dishwasher right up against this row of cabinets. So you might want to have, say, 3 inches or so, a 3-inch filler or something in there. Now, in this case, I'm assuming we would have a blind cabinet in. If you do have a corner cabinet with a Lazy Susan, in this particular case, you'd probably want to go as small as possible. Those are often 36 inches across, so 36 in this direction, and likewise it'd be 36 here. Not that that really matters for this, but you can see it extends quite far. Now they do have smaller ones, so you could go with a smaller corner, maybe a 32. Again, it's going to depend on what's available in your cabinets. And so if we assumed we could go with a 32-inch corner cabinet, and I'll do this just for completion, then we'd still need that 24 inches for the dishwasher. Of course, we could put it on the other side in this case, but we'll put it here. And that's the sort of orientation that you'd probably want to look at, something like that. Another option would be to switch the refrigerator or move the refrigerator over and leave the sink here. But the point is not to get too hung up on this specific layout, but the point is you really need to think through some of these details when you're doing the layout of the kitchen. It's not just about necessarily getting the triangle or getting the appropriate clearance on each side. You've got to think about the cabinets that are going to be on the base and how to fit in your appliances like your dishwasher. So that's it. Hopefully you found this all useful. Thanks for watching. Hey, if you're finding the channel useful or interesting, please consider subscribing. And if you have any feedback for any of our content, please consider leaving comments. Thank you.